So one of the things about it, and I think this is one of the things I love about this particular qualification. One, let's talk about the structure, then we're going to talk about this other stuff. One, the structure, how is it structured? So the structure is such that it's got three components. It's got one, a pre-scene, two, an unseen, and three, task lists. Oh, that almost sounds like an APC, right? APC, we talk about a pre-release for the pre-scene. For the unseen, we're talking about IOD, information on the day, and there's also a task list. So that is the structure. But what is a pre-scene? A pre-scene says that we want to give everyone a fair chance. We want everyone to really demonstrate business acumen by showing that they understand the company they work for. So we're going to give you the overview of the case study and some of the issues that the company is facing in advance so that you can engage on them. You need to then apply your technical skills like your strategy evaluation models, your financial analysis, and so on, just to unpack some of the issues, understand the company's strategic position, financial performance, and so on. So the pre-scene, it's actually all about that. Then on the day, some of the issues that the company was facing will have evolved. Maybe the company realized that given the US and the South African political tension, that they might also be hit by tariff or sanctions. So the company was just worried about some of the customers that they have in the US. Then when you come, say, later on in the unseen, they might say that, yeah, no, the president of the United States have now imposed these tariffs, and now management are worried about the impact on their clients. They need to write a letter. They need to assess the risk that have now materialized. They now need to do a couple of things about those or device mitigation or strategies. Then please, this is the task. Task A, can you write a memo to the board in terms of the risk that will materialize given our customer profile? Can you suggest diversification strategies to the board and so on and so on? So that is what the unseen in the task list will do. So that is the first component. The second component, it is when do I get this pre-scene? And when will I write it? So for the objective test, I mentioned that they are on demand. You write as and when you want. But for the case study, there are only 4 sittings per year. Why am I saying only? There are lots of sitting in a year, and there are 4 sittings in a year. 4 of them. So every quarter, there is a sitting. All right. So how does it work? So the way that it works is as follows. So you get the pre-scene 7 weeks ahead of the first sitting. Huh? So yes, so in April, there's going to be a pre-scene released for the May sitting. That is what it means. So that is going to be released. I think the first one for the management, it's end of this month, and then first week of April is the strategic. So you get that pre-scene then. And additionally, you will then have an opportunity to use the same pre-scene to write either on day 1, day 2, or day 3. So that means from the same pre-scene, there's going to be 3 exams in May. These exams are going to be different from each other, and you only need to book for one. So when you go book, it will ask you, do you want to write on Wednesday Thursday, or Friday. So don't see the 3 days and think that, sure, wait, do I have to write 3 exams on one case study? No, you have to choose. And therefore, when I say there are 3, I'm just raising that. No, don't wait for your friend to book Wednesday and you come on Friday thinking that you will have an answer on it. You will have your unique one. So the idea is always that they are mixed, or they are randomized, and therefore when you come, you will not know which one you're going to write. So it's quite an interesting one, that it's not the same case study in one day, but it's like multiple cases on one day. So someone in US might be writing copy 1, someone in South Africa might be writing copy 2, someone in Asia might be writing copy 3 on the same day. So that means when you come, you also might be thrown with copy 1, copy 2, or copy 3. They call them variants. So when you see this term variants, that is just talking about 3 possible case studies that you can get. But rest assured, the one that you're going to get will be quite unique. So because it's also digital, it's not like your friend will come out with a paper, everything they write online, but this one is now an essay-based assessment. So as I was saying in that example of the impact, you will then write that I think the impact is 1, 2, 3, and so on and so on. Then the other interesting thing is that the same pre-release that is going to be released end of this month and early April, it will then be used in August sitting. So that means for those sitting in August, they actually have more time with the same pre-release. And again, in August, there's going to be 3 new variants. What does that mean? It means from the same pre-release, pre-seen material, there are 6 copies of the what? Of the case study. Does that make sense? But you'll only need to sit for 1. So you could actually say, I don't want to sit for May. I want to see what May was all about. So I'm going to skip May, then I'm going to get to see the variants that the people that wrote in May will have written, as well as their answers and what was expected. But I'm going to use it just as a learning material, not as an expectation of what I'm going to see later on. And then the next thing you might then say, but wait, how will I know what they're going to assess? So CIMA then came about a few years ago. They said that no, exam should not be complicated. Exam should have what we call a blueprint. And for those that have heard this term, we normally use it when we are talking about the plans for a building. And we say this is the blueprint of the what? Of the building. So it shows you in absolute clarity the structure of the building. If you get in here and you want to get there, how you're going to navigate and so on. So that is where the concept of a blueprint was coming from. That it's supposed to give you clarity in terms of what to expect in the exam. So there are no surprises to say that, what if I get this? No, the blueprint will tell you that we are going to focus on these core activities. We want to test whether you can. So they are presented in I can statements. So you will then be having a number of them to say, I can prepare a budget. I can analyze risk. I can advise management on strategies and so on and so on. So that's what a blueprint does. So you use that blueprint in order to prepare for the case study. So if it's not in the blueprint, it's not going to come. And for me, that's very liberating, because professional exams at this level, there's just so much that they can assess. But that blueprint then helps you to know clearly what you can be, what you can expect. Then how long is the exam? the exam is 3 hours. And there's a twist here. So the twist is this. The twist is the exam, yes, is 3 hours and it's got about 3 tasks. Each task will have maybe 2 or 3 subtasks at most. What do I mean 3 subtasks? So going back to that example of that issue of the US South Africa tension, that is that. Then it could be that now that's what is bothering the board and senior management. So the board will then say, can you tell us the risk after the US president has announced new fresh tariffs against South Africa? Can you tell us the risk? So you unpack the risk. Then subtask B, can you, for each risk that you have identified, devise or outline the mitigants for this? And furthermore, how will it also affect our sustainability goals locally? So do you see, it's one issue and it's one task around that, but it's got subtask in it. So that is how that works. And from a time management perspective, for some, this is good news. For some, not so much good news. So the task here, because it's online, they are timed. In the 3 hours, they might say that task 1, it's worth, or you need to complete it in 1 hour. Task 2, 2 hours done. Task 3, 3 hours done. So what if I want to spend 10 more minutes on it? You can't. The system closes task A after an hour. Task B will then be closed after an hour, and task C will then be closed. So there's that. Let's encourage everyone to attempt all the tasks. Sounds good, right? Just think about it that, yeah, if you had this before in your assessment journey, whatever you've got qualification for, especially for those that have set for APC, where they always complain about time management, that if you knew the task A needed 20 minutes, after 20 minutes, the window closes. How will that have made your experience? But that's what the kind of experience you now have here. So 3 hours with time tasks. On average, each task is about an hour. And the marking is also quite interesting. So the marking, it's on a 3-level approach. So where we are now saying that we don't, or you don't have, you have more visibility, maybe let me put it that way. You have more visibility around the level of depth and coverage that is expected. So I said to you in that mini task I've got, that the board is worried about the risk arising from this. Can you outline the key risks? So now, how will that work? So obviously, if it's key, it has to be significant. So you might then say that for me, 5 risks are key. Or better, they might say, identify 5 risks that are key now that we have heard that these new fresh tariffs have been issued, and discuss them for the board. So you will then be assessed on, excuse me. So the 3-level approach works this way. It's got 0 to 2 or 1. I'll need to double check myself. 0 to 1, or let's say 2. And then 0 to 1, and then it will say that that's level 1 marks. Then level 2, it will then say 2 to 3, and level 3, it will then say 4 to 5. Then they will describe where a candidate will fall. Then they will say that if a candidate identifies 5 risks, and they simply list them and say that there's going to be increased competition, there's going to be increased operating cost, there's going to be 1, 2, 3. They are just listing. That candidate might be under level 1, where they say the candidate simply list the risks that are required by the board without detailed explanation. So put them at 0 to 1. So that means the marker will need to give you the 0 or 1, depending on what they think. Then level 2 might say, if the candidate then links those risks with what? With the current strategic objective of the organization, give them 3 to 4. Then maybe you are there and say that because we've got a significant customer in the US, these tariffs will then affect the relationships we've got. So yeah, there's something there. I like it because you identify that the customer is a significant customer to us. So I'm going to put you at a 3. So then the mark level then works like that. Then if you go and tell me that the impact is such that this customer, because they are 50%, but we also have other customers that we are talking to and so on, where now you are more richer in your response, then I can put you at a level 5 or at a 5, meaning that you get 5 marks for that particular response. So that is the level mark. So what they do, they give you detailed guidance of how that marking level approach works. You can practice it. We're going to go through together on it when we do our case study preparation so that you understand how to write richer answers and answers that will ensure that you are always on the last level on that marking grid. But that is how the essay types question work. They are not digitally marked. These ones are human marked. So a person will read, review, think, give you a credit, and then you will get a score out of that. So that is how the case studies work. Then next, so I'm going to get to the questions. Now let's talk about, go back, please. Now you are done with the exams. You are done with the objective test. You are done with the case studies. Now what is next? So the next aspect, it is the practical experience requirements. So most in the website for CIMA and ours, you're going to see PER. That's what we are talking about. So PER stands for practical experience requirement. For those that might have done the psych articles, that is equivalent to a training contract. But this is quite flexible as well and quite a nice way to approach it. So it is based on what they call the STAR template. The STAR template means that you need, when you complete your experience, you need to then tell us the situation that you were in. Then you need to tell us what was your role and responsibility in that context. And tell us then, what did you do? And what is the impact of your contribution? That is the STAR template. And the STAR template is such a nice one. From what? It is such a nice one from an interview perspective, that when you're preparing for an interview, if you apply the STAR, they recommend the STAR approach for interviews to say that, yeah, when someone asks you, give me a situation, outline the situation, your role and responsibility, where you use I did this, I then did that. And then, then you describe the actions, that this is how then I did it, and so on. And what were the results? The results were then there was an improved outcome through increased revenue, through increased timelines, increased productivity, and so on. So that's how you then complete your PER. But on what? You complete it on the core work activities, which are part of the blueprints. So you are now going to show that you can evaluate opportunities to add value. You can implement strategic decision. You can manage performance and cost to add in value creation. You can measure performance, and you can manage internal and external stakeholders. So There, CIMA is saying just tick 3. So choose 3 of those and then do a star for them. So that means you've got star for 3 of them. So let's say I can evaluate opportunities to add value. So opportunities to add value, let's say you work for a financial institution, you can say that there was a fund that our company was considering employee introducing, and they needed to know whether that would be profitable. So what I did, that was the context, the situation. My role was to evaluate the profitability of that particular fund. That was your task. Then what did you do? In terms of evaluating, I did an estimate of the number of consumers that we expected to take advantage of that. What it required was for me to prepare an Excel model, and I modeled the number of consumers based on inquiries, based on this. And furthermore, I modeled the pricing based on competitor analysis from other providers and so on. The result was that I was able to report back to the board on whether this was profitable or not. And at the end, this product needed to tweak this and this in order to remain profitable. So that was the insight and the influence that I contributed into what? Into the outcome. So that is the kind of explanation that they want when you prepare what? When you prepare this experience of yours, but 3 out of the 5. Then on the skills and behavior, they want 5 out of 5. So how did you, when you were doing the core tasks, demonstrate ethics and integrity, leadership skills, growth mindset? How did you question or demonstrate critical thinking? And how did you demonstrate that you've got effective communication skills? So the idea is that you compile these just 8 core areas over your 3-year experience. And this experience is not confined in a contract. So you might be saying that, yeah, but in role number 1, I was a bookkeeper. In role number 2, then I moved and I was a financial accountant. Then they moved me to be a cost accountant. So that doesn't matter. As long as it's covered in a minimum of a 3-year period, you can capture it, and you then have the person you're working for sign it off. So once it's signed off, then that's ticket number 1. Then you submit it to CIMA. It takes about 8 weeks for them to what? To review it and give you feedback. If there's something that they are not fully satisfied with, they'll then contact you to ask you to further explain, or maybe to give a different examples in order to get you there. So they want you to succeed. So that process is not a way now it's a pass or fail and they leave you to it. So it's a very supportive process. Then in terms of when you can start with it, you can start with it as early as after completing your management case study exam, and even submit it there. So you can even submit it and get approved before you sit for your strategic case study. As long as after you sit, you then apply for membership. And the expectation is about 500 to 750 words for each of the 8 areas. I mean, summarizing your 3 years in such. For those that have done psycho training, they will admit that we've written more than that in the 3 year. So this is quite a nice one. Then the next slide, please. So you might be asking, so, okay, I've now understood the journey. I've seen all the 9 exams. I've seen what each of the objective tests are all about. I've seen what the case study is all about. I've seen the experience, what it's all about. But where do I start? So the starting point is to register a free profile with CIMA. So to register a profile is quite easy. Once you have it, you can, even before you have it, you can access what they call an exemption calculator. If you go to Google now and say CIMA exemption calculator, it's on top. So you click it, Then it's got 4 steps. Number 1, it asks you, do you hold a professional qualification? So if you are a CA, you'll say, yes, I do. With whom? With CIMA. What is it? You are a member. So it's a weird one. So you don't say you are a CA, you say you are a member. So you say, I'm a member. Then you say, next step. What is your educational qualification? Then you then say, I've completed CTA, I've completed BCom degree, I've completed an advanced diploma, and so on and so on. The idea, they will see and know that your qualification should not be older than 7 years. If it is, that will be to CIMA's discretion. So go for it and check if they will accept it. Then the exemption will then also ask you, where are you based? And after you are done, it will tell you this is where you can start. So there's not really black and white for some of these things, especially the qualification, because even universities are rated differently. You might find that a BCom from UP can get someone into management level. Then a BCom from another university might want someone to start from an operational level. So it's always best to use that, and the final sign-off has to be made by CIMA. So for me, start with that calculator and let it tell you where you can start. There's also a question on experience, but that generally applies for CFO or a very senior role. Maybe you've been a director for a minimum of, say, 7 or 10 years. You can go through an accelerated route. The accelerated route, what will then allow you to do is to go through a couple of exemptions, because they can't expect someone who's got, say, 10 years senior management experience to do what? To be writing, say, operational level. Because as we said, it's a junior level, that one. So that is how then this works. So as I was saying, that from a professional perspective, then if you're ACCA, CIMA, CIPA is there. The one that I've not seen is the registered government auditors. So that one I've not seen, but you can check with them. But I know I've seen ACCA, I've seen CA, I've seen also CIPA on that professional qualification list. Okay. Then some of the possible or typical journeys, I've now noted them here. So if you're a qualified CA, you will definitely be exempted from the entire operational level, entire management level, and from a strategic perspective, the pillar modules will be exempted. So you don't need to do E3, F3, and P3. You only need to do the exam requirements. And when it comes to the PER, you only need to do a 2-page PER. You don't need to do all that 8 I've spoken about. So yours is a little bit short and fancy. Just remind them that, oh guys, I did all this, and then they will sign you off and you are essentially done. So the PER process is quite light for qualified CAs. Then if you have done what? If you have completed CTA, so maybe you've completed CTA, you attempted IAC or ITC, and it didn't work out. So what can you do? So you will be exempted from the entire operational level. And again, I saw 1 or 2 universities, CTA, wanted them to study operational. It was a little bit unusual, but you can check with CIMA. But most CTA that I've checked, including UNISAS, UPs, they have what? They do exempt you from operational. That means you start your journey from management level and you write management level and strategic, and from a PER, because you've got psych training, you can leverage that and complete the accelerated PER. Then for a completed undergraduate, the different degrees are, I saw, like for instance, the advanced diploma from UJ. If you've done an advanced diploma from UJ, it starts you at management. But I think the advanced diploma from TUT, it starts you from operational. So there are those things that are very are very worth considering. As my colleague will say, the nuances of the journey. So you just need to go through that and be able to be able to just see where you are. And remember that after you've completed that and you've got the profile, CIMA will ask for your qualification. So it's not a matter of you now telling them that I've got this and they say all good. So they'll ask you, if you say I'm a CA, to send your letter of good standing and all these things to just prove that, yes, I am a qualified thing. But the process from there is quite self-explanatory. They will have a step and say, upload the documents and so on and so on. Give us more details. Where did you complete it? And so on and so on. So, but very simple process once you are there on that exemption calculator. Advanced diploma as well, as I was saying, they've got different requirements. And from any PER perspective, they've got, what do you call it? You will be required to complete that detailed PER. But it's quite simple in itself, as you might have seen. So that is essentially the journey right here. So quite a bit of a mouthful, but we are here. Let me take questions. I see a hand. Dumisan. Is it Dumisan? Yeah, Dumisan, yes.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. Look, sorry, man. My first question, I joined a bit late. I wanted to check if I can be able to get the recording to hear the earlier part of your discussion. Then my second question will be on the issue of getting exemption. I just wanted to check if someone has got, for example, 5-year experience as a senior position in finance and then 2 years as a CFO. Where do you think one will start?
So the other accelerated route, I think it was a minimum of 7. But try the calculator and see. I think because if you are to start on that CFO accelerated, and you can motivate for it, but you'll need to submit your CV. So you'll submit your CV, which will outline what you're doing, because sometimes I could have 10-year experience, you could have 5, but the environment you're in has really exposed you to something that I covered in 10 years or so on. So the different in experience, that's where they have a human to evaluate that. So I know that they take the context from a CV, they'll verify some of the experience through their channels, but if they're satisfied, then they can also accelerate you and you can start at a strategic. But from a timing, I think minimum was 7. But just give it a shot. I think it never hurts.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, and it's free, by the way. So that's another thing. So if they say, no, you have to start here, it's not like you lose anything.
All right.
Sure. Tato?
Hi, Rendani, Ella, and the rest of the team. I hope I'll be audible because my network is really bad. So firstly, I think I'm going to need assistance with applying for exemptions because I've tried it. I've even tried it now as you were talking in the background, and it says I don't qualify for any exemptions. Yeah, it says I don't qualify for any exemptions, but I think we can just touch on that later.
Yeah, sure.
Secondly, I see there the bottom thing says full offering for the August 2025 sitting, meaning if we start now, there's no way we can write in May. Am I correct?
Thank you for clarifying. Yes, maybe I should have said that. Yes, so what we've decided to do from our side. So we, from a preparation perspective. And you'll see, so we'll be releasing the timetable before the end of the week. So in our plan, what we're going to be kicking off with, we're going to be kicking off with the pillar modules, essentially from, call it last week of March, then full April, and then full May. And then the idea is that one will then be expected to start registering for the objective test closer to end of May and the first week of June. Then second week of June, that's when we then start with the preparation for the case study. So that particular process is about 4 to 6 weeks. So that will be June and July. So essentially in our first plan, we have then the case study support only kicking off in June. And the reason we've done that is that because we are realizing that some of our CA candidates will then want to, will want to jump into the case study, or they will be exempted all the exams other than the case study. And what we want to say, when the case study starts, we then give them access to the pillar modules content. As much as they are not required to write it, in some instances, having that kind of background will then be quite beneficial rather than just making it an exam. Because I think, as I said, for me, what's important is to really come out and say that after my journey, I've worked through the content. I really now understand what it means to have digital skills in this day and age, what it means, and so on. So our case study offering will offer access to the content for the pillar modules, even though someone might not be required to sit for those. So that's why we then thought that if we were to do it now, we didn't want to risk offering anything subpar and just then rushing it through ahead of the May sitting, but rather we're going to focus on offering the full offering for the case study August sitting. So that was the idea there.
Okay, makes sense. Okay, thank you.
Sure. Then is it for Ngani? Yes, Ngani?
Yes, hi, Renan.
Sure.
Just the first question from my side, because like I just passed my APC, so I'll be done with my article next year. Like I was thinking maybe to start now, but then after your presentation, I think like it is wise for one to wait up until I fully qualified, and then so that I can go straight to strategic level. Is that a good analysis or?
Yeah, yes. No, and that's an interesting one. I think yes, because I think there was always that weird thing. Because I remember even for myself, I had to wait until CICA signed me off, because if I didn't, I think I was required to sit for more things, and I didn't want to. So the qualification does make a difference, but I had not checked what APC meant, because the question is always, one, do you have a professional qualification, not a professional exam? So that's where the tricky thing comes in. Yeah, no. So unless maybe you try them and ask, but I've never gotten that one. So I think for me, it's all that you have to qualify first, and even the new pathway say qualified chartered accountants. So please, if you try them and they give you the green light with just APC, please do let me know. I'm sure it's a very relevant question, and I'll be keen to just find out. But otherwise, I can always check with them as well to see what is their view on it. But I suspect that they might want you to write pillar modules if you don't have full qualification.
Okay. And then when we register for the
Mhm.
When you register for the strategic level, like the case study,
Mhm.
how does it work? It seems like you're just registering for the examination or...
So when you register for it, so so you have to go through the exemption process first, right?
Yes, sir.
Because the exemption process, what it does, it will allow them to update your profile. Because if you register now, it will then be hanging, and it will say it will use your CTA for now. It will then use your CTA and say these are your preliminary exemption. And as a result, it will allow you to only add the pillar modules E2, F2, and P2. It won't allow you to add the case study. So after you've gone through the exemption process, then that's when they will update your profile, and your profile will then say exempted for management and so on. And once you have that update in your profile, you can add the exam. It will then allow you to add the strategic exam, because it checks the requirement before it allows you to add the case study exam at that system. So you need to have gone through the exemption process so that they clear operational management and all the other pillar modules SCCA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Linda.
Yeah. So if you try now, so you can search for it and say add to cart, then it'll say error. So it says error, cannot complete a request or something like that. Yeah, that's what it does. Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I'll try that.
All right, sure. Cindy, hi.
So, my questions, I actually have 3 questions. One, I think will be a clarity,
Sure.
especially for those who wanted to do exemptions. I've
All
done
right.
exemption myself.
All
So
right.
what I did is I went through the system to
Mhm.
upload all my documents, but
Yes,
it
yes.
kept on stacking on management level. And then when I called them and they said that I'm doing it the wrong way because my my degree was older than 7 years, so it kicked me out. So what I then
Okay.
did is I went to do my honors, and then I just left it all together. Then I did the honors in management accounting, and then got that. After I got that, I then moved to my MPA. Only when I then completed my MPA, I then called them again to say, now this is what I have.
Yes,
What
yes,
do you then propose?
Uh-huh.
And then they proposed that I then apply for the CFO route. So the
Mm.
CFO route is very tedious, but they will want, like you've outlined, your CV, your qualifications, and all your certificates to say that this is what you've got. And then they will assess based on that. And then I think after few months, 3 months at most, and then they come back to say, this is what we're exempting you for. You can now move to the strategic level. But I think well, it happened for me. So I'm hoping that maybe someone else who has a similar qualifications might try, and then they will maybe approve for them as well.
Yeah, no, interesting feedback. Interesting feedback. I wonder why. Because I think maybe for you is the working experience and a qualification like MBA. But still, yeah, because I know the CFA route, it's a CFO route. It's as you said, it's a little bit demanding, and it requires, from what I remember, a significantly higher upfront cost, because you need to pay for those exemptions upfront. So I wonder if you still have an option to do it normally. Have you written
I
any of
took
the?
that I
Yeah.
took that option already last year, and then I did schedule the exam to write in August. I was not prepared, so I just moved the date to this year in May.
Oh, okay. So what are you required to do?
The case study, the strategic level case study.
Okay, all right. No, at least that was finalized. Okay, yeah, but I think for everyone that's here, that's a very interesting situation. But I'm glad it worked out for you. So yeah, so I think it's worth noting. But yeah, thanks for sharing, Cindy.
Yes. So the second one is your
Sure.
last disclaimer that is hurting my feelings right now.
Oh, yeah,
Full
I hear you,
offering for the
persistent.
August 2025 sitting to ensure full support for the case study. I'm literally rereading it to you. What does this mean? Does it mean that I can't join the program because my exam is scheduled for May the 21st? Or what does it mean? Does it mean that I won't get the benefit, or does it mean that I should cancel my exam and try for the one in August? What are you saying?
It's
in bold,
I don't want
August
to, but
2025.
you're putting me on the spot because you want me to be selfish.
It's in bold. It's there on your last line, August 2025.
But your question now, I'm hearing you, but your question. So yeah, because I think for me, we can take it offline. I think we can do that. So we can schedule a call and then we can speak about it. Maybe Vanessa, you can do that for us for tomorrow or so. Then we'll catch up. We'll have a general catch up. It's been a while as well.
Been a while, definitely.
Yes.
And then the last one, this
Sure.
one is mostly on, I think it's similar to what the guys have been asking, because I see you
Sure.
being biased. You're talking about people who are moving from CA to CIMA, but you're not talking about people that are moving from CIMA to CA. That's a low blow. That's a low blow.
No, it's gonna come, but we need to finish this part. So Eddie's gonna come back and talk to you about that. Yes.
I wanted to find out mostly about that. So I know there's another one on the 13th. I don't know. But for now, I just want to find out if it's something that Endunamo also offers for future
Yes.
proposals, because I've got colleagues that are actually inquiring about it. It would be nice for me to give them feedback as well, to say, okay, this is what you guys offer. Let them reach out, and then maybe I can even suggest that they attend that sessions that you guys have on the 13th. Maybe it will benefit them.
Yeah, great. No, wonderful. But yeah, Eddie's gonna come back and talk about that. That's a
Okay.
baby. Sure. Thank you so much.
Happiness. Thank you.
Sure. Pace. Hi.
Hi. I wanted to ask with I don't know why you're taking it offline with her, because it's a question that
But it's putting me on the spot.
now I wanted to know that with this case study, then
Yes.
there's the strategic one, because
Yeah.
since you're saying for a CA you exempt for everything except for it, how many is it also written at any time, like the ones that you're speaking about the operational, about, I mean, the test, the objective tests?
No. So that one, it is usually the third day is the results. I think it's the third week of the month. So it's the third week of May, the third week of August, the third week of November, and the third week of Feb. So that is the strategic. So that's how it works. Yes, 4 times.
Oh, okay. So one needs to, if for example, if I would like the November or the Feb one, when do I need to register for support, and also from the CIMA website?
Okay, yes. So first one, so from a timing, you can do the CIMA process first. So that you get that out of the way and they load your exemptions on the system. Then number 2, from our side, our case study support, we are scheduling it 2 months or 6 to 8 weeks, just to be more specific, before the specific sitting. So right now, as I was saying, that because we are going to be offering our support from August 2025 sitting, that means our support will start second week or first week of June. So it will run June to July, and then July to August, and you sit.
Oh,
yeah.
So
Yes.
sorry about that. So then when then you pause until the 2 months before. Okay. No, makes sense.
So in that 2 month, then what we'll want you to do is to finalize. I think the registration for the sitting closes about 5 weeks before the sitting. So I think the one for August, it closes around the 3rd week of July, if I'm not mistaken. So you need to then commit and say, I'm going to sit for August before they close the registration. But from our side, then the classes will end around the 1st week of August. So you'll see on the timetable, we'll say that we start by just revising the blueprint and connecting it to the specific theory. Then we start doing the case study, talking about how to respond, the structure, unpacking it, and then we've got 3 mock exams that you then do before you actually sit for the actual case study exam.
Oh, okay. And
Yeah.
then that 2 months also include those pillars that you were saying you're going to cover just for
Yes.
knowledge.
Yes. So especially from a strategy, because from a CA perspective, we just talk about the porters and so on, but you'll see there's more and the way we unpack it. So it's quite an interesting one. So for me, I'll want you to really enjoy it there.
Okay, last one.
Sure.
So what happens if maybe I had planned to sit in November and then I failed, but I was attending class. Do I then need to still register for the second for the Feb support?
Oh yes. So what we want, we don't want you to fail. That's always number one. The first prize is for you to get it right. Then, but what we then do in terms of our overall pricing strategies, there is a discount that you will then get when you come back. And the idea is to go through that. So from a planning perspective, what is always advantageous, it's always a matter of saying that the August and the Feb, they use the same case study pre-scene that I was talking about. So sometimes it helps to then schedule it that way. And actually, it depends on people. Some will then prefer to say, let me take that one and let me sit for November. And then if I change my mind or if it doesn't work out, at least I'm still working with the same case study come Feb. So that's another advantage. And some will say that, no, let me wait it out. Let me see what the November guys will get, and let me do it. Let me then use the feedback from the November while I prepare for my Feb. So there are different benefits to a different approach. So sometimes people do it out of timing. Some people do it out of just flexibility and more greater learning opportunities. So that you can think about. And if you need any guidance, we can always share our views from there.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to raise my hands. Sorry, I think the system is not allowing me. I wanted to check on the support. Do you provide support in groups? Let's say, for example, you're doing the strategic one, so it will be in groups. And what are your timings? I might have missed it earlier because I've joined a little bit later. And then also the costing structure for your support, whether I can get it or you've already communicated it.
And also the pricing still coming, yes.
Okay.
So the support on a high level, I think the timetable is quite easy to understand, but you will see that, excuse me, it's a session or a class where there will be a number of candidates, just to clarify that. But the support does include private consultation slots at different points in case you are saying that, sure, I think I was in class, but I think this is a very specific circumstance. I just want someone to walk me through this and clarify. So the program does provide for private consultations. It does also provide for consultation via the system where you can type a question, send it to the lecturing teams, and then they will respond. And also the mock exams for the case studies and for the pillars, there are regular quizzes that then happens throughout the journey. Yes.
Thanks.
Sure. Right. Thank you. So let me pass it back to Ere, and then she will talk to you around her program, the APC/ABC, and conclude the session for us on the pricing. Thank you.